I'm Tim Coulter. I'm head of the Indian Law Resource Center. I'm a Potawatomi Indian and a lawyer. And in 1977, we went to the United Nations along with Indian leaders from all over the United States and from many countries in Central and South America, and we asked the United Nations to adopt a declaration on the rights of Indian peoples, that is, indigenous peoples. We asked them to recognize the human rights that we hold as Indian peoples and as Indian individuals. Nothing like this existed. Our human rights were not really fully protected or recognized in law, and we felt this would be an important step forward to overcome the kind of injustices and lack of opportunity and unfairness that Indian people face all the time. Eventually, after more than 30 years of work, we were able to get the United Nations General Assembly to adopt the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. That declaration sets out a great list and an important list of the human rights that are held by indigenous peoples, Indian nations, Alaska Native nations, and other indigenous peoples around the world. Rights to be free from discrimination, rights to fairness and equality before the law, rights to self-determination, treaty rights, rights to hold our lands and resources as others hold their lands and resources, and many other important rights as well. Sadly, the United States voted against the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, even though the United States government, in fact, had already agreed to most of the rights in the Declaration. You know, the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples is really an American document. It was Americans, Indian and Alaska Native people, who proposed it to begin with. We worked on it all the way along. It springs out of our own Indian ideas. It springs right out of the American traditions of freedom and independence, individual rights, and respect and fairness for all. These are basic American values, and there never was a really good reason for the United States to vote against the Declaration. And I'm happy to say now, I'm very pleased that the United States government is reviewing its position, is taking a fresh look. The United States government is now reviewing its policy and its position on the Declaration with the thought in mind that it may be able to support or endorse the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. That would be a wonderful thing. It would be enormously important because the United States government needs to be a leader in the field of human rights. The United States government needs to be a leader in respecting the rights of Indian nations, the rights of Indian and Alaska Native individuals. The United States can do a lot to help protect the Indian peoples and other indigenous peoples all over the world by endorsing this important declaration. You know, the UN Declaration is not binding. It doesn't compel the United States to do anything. It has nothing to do with any kind of handouts. It doesn't involve giving money or giving anything to Indian peoples or indigenous peoples anywhere. It's not like that. It's a statement of principles. It's a statement of fundamental values and rights that are so important and fundamental to our way of life in the United States and everywhere.